What's up everyone, we're going to be going through the best NBA player props on PrizePicks today. Now don't forget to like this video as it does let me know to continue to give you free picks every day, so make sure to like this video clicking that button down below. And if we get 600 likes, I will do another video for tomorrow. Now I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see, we actually got 21 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. Now a lot of you comment wanting to see how many I got wrong, and I thought I'd show you in today's video. We only got 2 picks wrong, got 21 right, which is a 95% win rate, guys. Yes, you heard that right, 95% win rate. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get a 95% win rate and get 21 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon, which should be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $220 just yesterday. Another member who won $500 for the 6th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description. So go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group. And I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So quick shout out to Case Nova 408 who said let's MF go, and also shout out to 1023 Vic who said LFG. So shouts out to them, and if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. All right, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're going to talk about is Concanuple, and this one is for 21.5 points and rebounds, and this one is for more. Now looking at Con, we actually have seen him go on the over in 4 out of the last 5 games. Now looking at those 5 games, we see on January 9th, faced off against Indiana Pacers, had 26 points and rebounds there. January 11th, faced off against Utah, had 12 points and rebounds in that matchup. 23 points and rebounds against LA Clippers on January 13th. January 16th, faced off against the LA Lakers and had 26 points and rebounds. Then 35 points and rebounds against Golden State Warriors on January 18th. So looking at Con, we actually have seen him go on the over in 4 out of the last 5 games. But looking at those 5 games, we do actually see facing off, in this next matchup, Concanuple and Charlotte face off against the Denver Nuggets. Now, I do also have to mention that Con has gone on the over, and also his average over the last 5 has now hit 24.4. So he's done a very good job there. But looking at both of these teams and where they do actually rank, obviously we know Charlotte Hornets definitely has been a little bit of a struggle for them so far this season, because they come in at the 12th spot in the Eastern Conference. Now they have a record of 15 wins and 27 losses. That's a 35.7% win percentage there. On top of that, they are 7-12 from home, 8-15 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So very interesting to see there. And looking at their matchup, which is Denver Nuggets, we do actually see that Denver come in at the 3rd spot in the Western Conference, and they have a record of 29 wins and 13 losses. So that's a 69% win percentage there. They're also 12-6 from home, 17-7 from away, and are currently on a 4-game win streak. So Denver Nuggets on the other side have definitely done a fantastic job. They've been one of the top teams for sure. But looking at this matchup, Charlotte versus Denver, we do actually see, starting off with actually the Charlotte Hornets, we do actually see that when it comes to this matchup against Denver, we do know that Denver Nuggets, when it comes to points allowed, although they are a great team, they do rank 19th, allowing 117.2 points per game. So they actually allow a lot of points there. When we look at rebounds allowed, we also see that they rank 8th, allowing 42.7 rebounds per game. So looking at that, we do very much like the over for this one. Now, when it comes to Con, we actually do see him having a higher usage rate in points compared to rebounds. But, because of that, we are expecting Con to be able to take advantage of Denver being a poor defensive team when it comes to scoring. But looking at this matchup, we do also know, Charlotte against Denver. Looking at Denver, we do know that they do a very poor job at restricting points, rebounds, and also even assists. Just they are really poor at defending Con's position. So that's why we are expecting someone like Concanuple to be able to take advantage of this and go on the over here. When we look at the matchup between both of these teams, we are expecting a decent amount of pace. although Denver sometimes, we do know them as a slower paced team. What we do know, however, is that Charlotte are actually going to speed up Denver's pace, and we are expecting them to actually come up to Charlotte's pace rather than anything else. So we are expecting a similar fast-paced game that Charlotte do like to run, and as we've always mentioned, faster pace leads to more volume, and more volume leads to more opportunity to score and also rebound. So coming into this one, we do very, very much like the over for this one. Now, when we look at what the pros do have to say, obviously, they have him for a little bit of a different line. We have him for 21.5 while they have him for 22. Now, when we look at the bookies, it is kind of difficult to go off what the bookies are saying because it is a very, very different line. So it is kind of difficult to go off that. But what we do see, however, is that when we look at the projection, it does agree with us because the projection that they do have is 24.9 points and rebounds. Now, this is actually projected for the over, so it does actually work out in our favor there, and we are agreeing with it. And then what we also do see when we look at the last 15 games, we've seen him go on the over in 73% of those matchups. So he's definitely gone on the over quite consistently. So that's why coming into this next one, gone on the over 11 of 5, we should see him be able to do it once again. So Con's usage rate has remained very, very high, even against tougher teams. And for that reason, we are definitely sticking to the over. So Con Ganuble, 21.5 points and rebounds, 4 more, I think is a fantastic pick. All right, so getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about LaMelo Ball. So LaMelo Ball, great player, and this one is for 18.5 points, and this one actually is for more. Now, getting into his last 5 games, we do see LaMelo has gone on the over in 3 out of the last 5 games. Looking at those 5, we see that January 9th faced off against Indiana Pacers, had 33 points there. January 11th faced off against Utah Jazz, had 17 points, had 25 points against the LA Clippers on January 13th. January 16th faced off against the LA Lakers, had 30 points there. Then 15 points against Golden State Warriors on January 18th. So looking at LaMelo Ball, we have seen him go on the over, as I mentioned, in 3 out of the last 5 games. But looking at those 5 games, we do also know that his average over the last 5 is also 24. Now, we haven't mentioned this matchup before, but just to quickly remind you all again, Charlotte do face off against the Denver Nuggets. Now, looking at where both of these teams do lie, starting off with actually the Charlotte Hornets. Charlotte have themselves a pretty tough season, but they currently rank 12th in the actual Eastern Conference. They have a record of 15 wins and 27 losses. That's actually a 35.7% win percentage there. They're also 7-12 from home, 8-15 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So very, very interesting to see there. Obviously looking at, LaMelo and also Charlotte, they are definitely trying their best to see if they can continue to push and get into a better position. But they face off against Denver Nuggets, where Denver ranked 3rd in the Western Conference, and they also have a record of 29 wins, 13 losses. That's a 69% win percentage there. And on top of that, they are 12-6 from home, 17-7 from away, and are currently on a 4-game win streak. So really, really interesting to see. Now, looking at this matchup, we do also know that Denver Nuggets, when it comes to points allowed, we do see that they do actually rank 19th, allowing 117.2 points per game. So they do allow quite a lot of points. Although Denver are a top team, they still do very much allow a lot. And that's why coming into this next matchup, we do still very much like the over. Now, not only that, but we also do see that Denver Nuggets do struggle at restricting points to the guard position as well. So we should see someone like LaMelo Ball be able to take advantage of this game and be able to go on the over here. We do know, I think everyone does know that LaMelo, when it comes to his volume, it is very, very high when it comes to scoring. He likes to shoot the ball a lot. Definitely has a high volume shooter, as I do like to call him. And that's why coming into this next matchup, we are definitely liking the over for it. But looking at what the pros do have to say, now they do actually have him for a different line, which is 19.5. So it is a little bit of a different line there. So it is kind of difficult to go off what the bookies are saying due to the fact that it is very much a different line. But what we also do see when it comes to this is that actually that LaMelo Ball, over the projection, we do see that he is projected for 23.4 points. So he's definitely projected to go on the over. So I think that is great for us to see there. And it definitely does give us a lot of confidence to like the over for this situation here. Now, when we actually quickly look at actually LaMelo as well over the last 15 games, we have seen him do a fantastic job. Now he has gone on the over in just 53% of those games, so just slightly, just above the 50% mark. Now coming into this matchup, we are definitely thinking, matchups are super important. And although he has struggled at times in other matchups, in this one, we should see a very, very different story. So for that reason, we are definitely liking the over for this one. So definitely keep an eye out for LaMelo Ball coming into this game. So LaMelo Ball, 18.5 points for more, I think is a fantastic pick. All right, so getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about DeMar DeRozan. Now, this one is a combo one for points and rebounds for 23.5, and this one actually is for more. So we do like a lot of the overs lately. Now, looking at this matchup, we do actually see that DeMar has gone on the over in 4 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at those 5 games, we see on January 10th, faced off against the Golden State Warriors, had 26 points and rebounds there, then had 24 points and rebounds against Houston Rockets on January 12th. Then January 13th, faced off against the LA Lakers, had 34 points and rebounds, had 33 points and rebounds against New York Knicks on January 15th. Then January 17th, faced off against Washington Wizards and had 19 points and rebounds there. So looking at that, we have actually seen that DeMar DeRozan has gone on the over quite consistently. And on top of that, his average over the last 5 is 27.2. So he has significantly gone on the over in this one. But looking at this matchup, Sacramento have themselves a good matchup against Portland Trailblazers. Now looking at where both of these teams do lie, starting off with Sacramento, they have definitely struggled a little bit this season because they come in at the 14th spot in the Western Conference and they have a record of 12 wins and 30 losses. So that's a 28.6% win percentage there. On top of that, they are 9-13 from home, 3-17 from away, and are currently on a 4-game win streak. So very, very interesting to see there. Now looking at their matchup, which is none other than Portland Trailblazers. Portland do come in at the 9th spot in the Western Conference, and they have a record of 21 wins and 22 losses. That's a 48.8% win percentage there. And on top of that, they are also 12-10 from home, 9-12 from away, and are currently on a 2-game win streak. So very, very interesting to see there. So looking at both of these teams, both are not just only in the Western Conference, but Portland have definitely done a fantastic job. But looking at this matchup and looking defensively where Portland do rank, starting off with points allowed, we do see that the Portland Trailblazers come in at the 23rd spot, actually allowing 118.4 points per game. So they allow a lot of points there. Then when we look at rebounds allowed, we see that they rank 15th, allowing 43.7 rebounds per game. So Portland, unfortunately, aren't really the greatest defensive team, and because of that, we are expecting DeMar DeRozan to be able to take advantage of this and go on the over here. Although he has done a great job, as well over the last couple of games, we do also believe not only does he just have that hot streak, but the matchup in itself, which is Portland Trailblazers, we definitely are expecting their poor defense to have a huge effect there. Now, Portland also do struggle against DeMar DeRozan's position, and when it comes to this matchup between Sacramento and Portland, we are expecting actually a very fast-paced game. Both of these teams do like to push the ball quite a lot. Actually, I would say Portland just a little bit more. And we are expecting Sacramento Kings to actually come up to Portland's pace rather than the other way around. So for that reason, a higher pace game leads to more volume, and more volume leads to more opportunity to score and also rebound. So that's another big reason why we do very much like the over for someone like DeMar DeRozan here. Now, looking at DeMar and looking at what the pros do have to say, obviously we have him for a different line. We have him for 23.5 while they have him for 24.5. So it's a little bit of a different line there. And because of that, it is kind of difficult to go off what the bookies are saying, because the bookies actually have him for a much different line. So when we look at projection, however, it is somewhat, agreeing with us there, because they have him projected for the over at 26 points and rebounds. So that actually works out in our favor there. We are agreeing with the projection, which I think is fantastic to see. What we also do see is that over the last 15 games, we've actually seen him go on the over in 53.3% of the matchups. So he's definitely done a great job. I do believe, when it comes to, as of lately, we definitely have seen him have the hot hand. But as we've always mentioned, matchups. And that's what's most important here. And with Portland Trailblazers and the matchup, that they do have, that is them. We are expecting DeMar DeRozan to be able to take advantage of their poor defense and go on the over here. So for that reason, DeMar DeRozan for 23.5 points and rebounds for more, I think is a fantastic pick. So getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about none other than Precious Achiuwa. Now, when it comes to Precious, great player, as you all know. Now, this one is for 17.5 points, rebounds, and assists, or PRA, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Precious, we do actually see that he has gone on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at those 5 games, you see on January 10th, faced off against the Golden State Warriors, had 2 points, rebounds, and assists there. January 12th, faced off against the Houston Rockets, had 20 PRA in that matchup. January 13th, faced off against the LA Lakers, had 16 points, rebounds, and assists. Then January 15th, faced off against the New York Knicks, had 36 points and rebounds and assists, and then a PRA of 23 against Washington Wizards on January 17th. So for that reason, we are definitely liking the under for this situation here. And when we actually look at Precious, we do also know when it comes to this matchup that his average over the last 5 is also 19.4. So he has definitely had some outlier games, and I do believe that has brought this average quite high. But now we do know that Sacramento Kings do face off against the Portland Trailblazers. Now, looking at this matchup more in depth, we do know, we have touched on this matchup before, but Sacramento Kings, they rank 14th in the Western Conference. They have a record of 12 wins and also 30 losses. That's a 28.6% win percentage there. Also 9-13 from home, 3-17 from away, and are currently on a 4-game win streak. So very, very interesting to see there. But looking at Precious, we have definitely seen him, do a great job for this team, but it just hasn't really converted to wins. And they face off against a Portland team that ranked 9th as well, and also have a record of 21 wins and 22 losses. That's a 48.8% win percentage there. They're also 12-10 from home, 9-12 from away, and are currently on a 2-game win streak. So very, very interesting to see. Obviously, Portland are trying their best to get into the playoff picture, while Kings are trying also their best to be able to get into that top 10. Now, when we actually look at Portland Trailblazers and where they do rank, starting off with points allowed, we do know Trailblazers rank 23rd, actually allowing 118.4 points per game. When we look at assists allowed, we see somewhat of a similar story, as in a sense that they do rank low, as they actually come in and also rank 16th, allowing 26.8 assists per game. Then rebounds allowed, we also see that Portland Trailblazers do rank 15th and allow 43.7 rebounds per game. So looking at that, obviously Portland aren't really ranked the best. So why do we like the under for this situation? Now, 2 main reasons for this. When we look at Portland Trailblazers, we do actually see that they do a fantastic job at actually restricting, points, rebounds, and assists to the power forward position. Now, when we actually look at this, we do also know that when it comes to Precious, we do also see that he did have an outlier game against New York Knicks. Now, they had a big outlier game there, also had a pretty outlier game against Washington Wizards. And although that's great, I do believe that these 2 games have definitely brought this line a little bit too high. And now there's a lot more favor actually to go on the under, especially against a matchup like Portland that do a great job against his position. So I do see this as an over type of inflated line where now there's a lot more value there to go on the under. And when we look at what the pros do have to say, now the pros, what they do have him for is 17.5 points, rebounds, and assists as well. So this one is pretty interesting to see, because we do also see that when it comes to this, they have him projected for the under as well. When we look at someone like Precious Achiuwa, we also do see projection wise, they have him projected for 7.7 points, rebounds, and assists. That is significantly on the under. And a big reason for this, as I mentioned, that there has been a little bit of inflation. And I do believe, Sacramento have played Precious a little bit. They've put him in a position where obviously, he's gotten a lot more minutes, gotten a lot more usage rate out there, and it's definitely paid off, in those games. But overall, we definitely see him coming back down a baseline and seeing him go on the under in this one. Now, when we actually look at those last, 15 games, we do actually see that he's only gone on the actual over in 40% of those. So he's actually gone on the under in 60% of these matchups. And that's a big reason why we do very much like the under for this one. So for that reason, I definitely would keep an eye out for the under for someone like Precious coming into this game. We see a lot of value there to go on the under. So Precious Achiuwa, 17.5 points, rebounds, and assists for less, I think is a fantastic pick. All right, so getting into the next pick, we're going to be talking about none other than Paolo Banchero. So Banchero, great player, as we all know, and he's done a fantastic job so far this season because he's actually, put himself in a great position with this Orlando Magic team. But this one is for points and rebounds for 31.5, and this one actually is for more. Now looking at Paolo, he actually has gone on the over in 2 out of the last 5 games. Now looking at those 5 games, you see on January 7th, faced off against Washington Wizards, had 18 points and rebounds there. January 8th, faced off against Brooklyn Nets, had 44 points and rebounds. January 10th, faced off against Philadelphia 76ers, had 25 points and rebounds. 31 points and rebounds against New Orleans Pelicans on January 12th. And then January 16th, faced off against Memphis Grizzlies and had 39 points and rebounds there. So we've actually definitely seen, Paolo go on the over 2 out of the last 5, but his average over the last 5 is also 31.4. So very close to this line. Now we do actually see when it comes to Banchero and also Orlando Magic, they have themselves a very good matchup against none other than the Memphis Grizzlies. Now we haven't touched on this matchup just yet, but looking at both of these teams, starting off with Orlando Magic, Orlando come in at the 5th spot in the Eastern Conference, and they have a record of 23 wins and 18 losses. So that's a 56.1% win percentage there. They're also 13-6 from home, 9-11 from away, and are currently on a 2-game win streak. So very interesting to see there. Now looking at this matchup, we do know they face off against a Grizzlies team that have definitely struggled as they come in at the 11th spot in the Western Conference, and they have a record of 17 wins and 23 losses. So that's a 42.5% win percentage there. They're also 9-11 from home, 8-11 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So very interesting to see. Obviously looking at both of these teams, Orlando and Memphis, both are definitely trying to be in that playoff spot. Orlando are currently in it, while Memphis have definitely struggled. But looking at Memphis defensively, we do actually see, starting off with points allowed, we do see that the Grizzlies come in at the 16th spot when it actually comes to points allowed, and they actually allow 116.2 points per game. Now, when we actually look at rebounds allowed, we also do see that the Memphis Grizzlies do rank 20th, and they actually have a record of 45, or a record of allowing 45 rebounds per game. So, we do actually see that Memphis do allow a lot of points, they allow a lot of rebounds, and on top of that, we also do see that they allow both, points and rebounds as well to Paolo Banchero's position, which is that forward position. Now, the reason why this definitely does, stick out to us as well is that he has recently just come off a game facing off against Memphis in that matchup, and he did have 39 points and rebounds there. So he did it in that game, and we are expecting him to do it once again, as we noticed that Memphis weren't really making that many adjustments to Banchero, and were kind of focused more as team defense was more of a focus. So Paolo was able to slip through the cracks in that game and go on the over, and we are expecting him to do it once again coming into this next matchup. And this matchup is definitely going to be an exciting one, but looking at where, his line does sit when it comes to points and rebounds, when it comes to the pros, now they actually have him 4 points and rebounds for 32.5. So it is, 1 point / rebound more, but we also do see when it comes to the bookies, it is kind of difficult to go off, or kind of compare our line to theirs because it is a different line in general. But looking at actually the projection, they have been projected for 33.1. So they haven't projected for the over for us. So that's what really does set it apart and why we do very much like the over for this situation here. And that's why, as I've always mentioned, when it comes to do prize picks and the lines that I do like to mention, it's definitely with lines that have a lot of value and definitely show a lot of promise. But looking at his last 15 games, we've also seen him go on the over in 60% of these matchups. So that's why coming into this next one, we do very, very much like the over for this one. So definitely keep an eye out for Paolo Banchero coming into this game. And when it comes to his matchup against Memphis, we should definitely see him, go on the over like he did in the last one. So Paolo Banchero, 31.5 points and rebounds, 4 more, I think is a fantastic pick.